everyone, welcome back to Build. I'm your host, Brittany Jones Cooper, and today we're talking about the new Netflix series, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. This adaptation of the Sabrina the Teenage Witch series is a dark coming-of-age story that shows Sabrina wrestling to reconcile her dual nature, half witch and half mortal, while standing against the evil forces that threaten her and her family. Today I'll be joined by actress Kiernan Shipka, who plays Sabrina, but first, let's check out a clip.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Barney Kinkle, the only person you're gonna scare is yourself.
Gotcha.
Good night, Harvey.
Good night, Sabrina.
In the town of Greendale, where it always feels like Halloween, there lived a girl who was half witch, half mortal, who, on her 16th birthday, would have to choose between two worlds, the witch world of her family and the human world of her friends. Happy birthday, sweet 16. And that girl is me.
Are you willing to forsake the path of light and follow the path of night?
I can't do this.
You must.
I shall deliver Sabrina.
You're going to die, half-breed.
Girls, let's not be catty bitches.
You're a rebel, Spellman. That's how I like my witches.
I'm not an evil person. But these are desperate times. My name is Sabrina Spellman, and I will not sign it away.
Would you like to do the honors?
With pleasure.
Rise.
Rise.
Was on Hilda.
She annoyed me, so I killed her and buried her in the yard.
Put your hands together for Kiernan Shipka. That trailer's amazing. It is like the perfect way to ease into the spooky season, I think.
Totally. I think my grandma is responsible for like half the views on it on YouTube, but I also have watched it a couple times. Yeah. It's great.
You know, I got to see the first 4 episodes, and I was telling you in the back, I really, really loved it. I was, of course, a fan of the comedy version that I grew up watching, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and you guys did this so perfectly where you had to kind of flip it on its head to make it new again, and they did it.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's such a darker take. And really, the two shows are different shows. It's in no way a reboot or a remake of the old show. It's way dark, and it's super scary, and it really goes there. It gets really intense.
What I love too is that it's in the same world as Riverdale. And I saw recently that Roberto, the creator, he was like, he actually thought of you for Riverdale, and then this opportunity seemed to be a better fit for you. So what was that journey like for you to find Sabrina and get brought onto this project?
Totally. I mean, it all happened really quickly, as a lot of things do. Roberto said that he was interested in me, and I met with him, and we had an awesome meeting, and it was great. And then I auditioned for the show 2 times, and then waited what felt like an agonizing eternity, but really it was like Tuesday to Friday. And then I was an early Christmas gift that I got the show.
What did you audition with for this role?
I auditioned with the scene where I told Harvey that I'm a witch in the first episode, and then I take it back. And then I auditioned as well with another scene that in no way is in the in the show. It was just kind of written for the audition in a way.
The scenes that you do look, I mean, there's so many intense scenes, and so how fun is it to kind of dig into this spooky dark side? Because you've done
It's really
some spooky
fun.
film in the past, but this one's you.
This one's fun, and it's also such classical horror where there's a lot of monsters and demons and scares and all sorts of things. It's been so fun because you feel like you're in a safe environment, but at the same time, you feel like you kind of get to experience the scary, wilder things, you know, like a demon chasing you in the woods. It's something like that, but like also feel totally safe at the same time. I mean, win-win. But no, it's been really fun. And also it's just such a physically intense job too. There's a lot of night work. There's a lot of night shoots. Like come Thursday and Friday, we're probably starting our days around like 4 p.m. and we're ending when the sun comes up. So it's a really crazy schedule, but at the same time, it's never not entertaining, and you never even think of like falling asleep or getting tired because you're just running and scared and all the things.
Have you become a coffee drinker?
I have, unfortunately. Yeah, I stick with my matcha as much as I can just because I feel like it gives me less jitters. But I also dabble. I have these like chocolate things that they're like a chocolate, like they're like a Reese's peanut butter cup, but instead of peanut butter, they're filled with like a coffee coconut thing. It's perfect. It's chocolate, it's coffee, it's got MCT oil. I'm good for the night. I'm just like, I'm going.
I also love the matcha. I'm on the matcha train as well.
Totally on the train.
It's totally necessary.
We'll never hop off the train.
So take me through this experience for you, because you're the lead in this show. So how different is that for you? Because you're in almost every scene.
Yeah, it's a really intense experience. I mean, it's definitely the most challenging project I've ever done. We work 5 to 6 days a week, and it's completely and utterly like a joy. But at the same time, it's hard. It's a hard job. It's demanding. But I always say like there's no other thing that I would rather exhaust me than like being on this show. Like it's even a satisfying, fun feeling to feel tired because you're like, yeah, we just did something amazing, and now I'm gonna sleep the entire weekend. So my friends sometimes don't. I have like a lot of unread text messages on my phone because I'm just all over the place, but at the same time, it's been so fun.
Well, when the show comes out, they'll get to see what you were doing.
Yeah, that's the other thing
fun.
too. Is it's nice. It's fun that people are finally get to see it because we've been working so hard on it, and it's gonna be so fun.
The cast in this is so much fun.
Oh my God.
So we have some familiar faces, like
Yeah.
the aunts are there, Hilda
Yeah.
and Zelda,
Yeah.
and Salem's there.
Of course.
But there's some new blood that makes it so much
Yeah.
fun, including I love the cousin Ambrose.
Oh my God.
So and you
Isn't
guys play
Ambrose
a lot
awesome?
together, yeah.
Chance is so fun. He's the best. Yeah, it's so funny because I actually booked Sabrina and then I got to do chemistry reads with a lot of the other characters. And I remember the second that I did the chemistry read with Chance, I was like, okay, that's our Ambrose, and there's no debating it whatsoever. And he has so much fun on set, and he just assumes the role so perfectly, and he just is that character. It's amazing. He's so good, and it's such a fun addition. It's so great that Sabrina has like a confidant, someone in the house that sort of, conspires with her to a certain extent. He definitely enables her in a lot of ways as far as like spell casting goes. I think her aunts are a bit more conservative than he is, and it's fun to have someone that's like forward thinking and all that kind of fun stuff.
And also for you on set, I think of probably your Mad Men days where you were the only kid around, and now you're surrounded by peers, people your age. So the set must actually be more fun because you can like hang out with your co-stars.
Oh my God, it's such a different experience. I'm like, this is what all the adults felt like on Mad Men. But yeah, no, it's great. I laugh that like when I was like 6 years old, I was on a television show that like no child really cared about, and now that I'm like 19, like all my friends are actually excited about a show, which is cool too. I mean, I will say that like the fans for this show have already been so awesome and so rad, and like and we get so excited on set by all that kind of stuff, and it's just so nice to be able to share a project with an age group around, or similar to me. It feels really good. I will watch the show, and I have, but like I would be watching the show even if I wasn't even if I wasn't right
weren't
there.
on the poster?
Yeah, if I wasn't staring at myself right now.
One reason I think that people are really going to love the show is because it is so much reflecting what's going on socially in our culture. So Sabrina is very much a woke witch.
She is such a woke
She's
witch.
so woke.
You have to trademark that.
Woke witch.
Woke witch. Brittany said it first.
Hashtag woke witch. But she is really, and you see her in her human life, in her school, really fighting for women's rights and her friends. So was that important for you to have a character who's really kind of speaking to what's going on in society?
Totally. I mean, I think at the end of the day, I'm always going to be drawn to content that's inherently feminist. And I think that just the fact that a young girl is being portrayed on television with depth and dimensions and making choices for herself and figuring things out, I think that's inherently positive. But I think it's an additional plus that Sabrina herself is active in fighting for justice. She's passionate about giving people the rights that they deserve and doesn't like unfairness, and it just doesn't resonate with her, and she does something about it. And obviously she creates Wicca at her school with her two best friends, and it's really cool to show that, because I think that's also just like so reflective of the youth and being so active in political change. It's really what a lot of young amazing people are up to right now. So I'm glad that that's actually being shown on television.
And the writing is so on point, even where they have Aunt Zelda and her kind of like commitment to the patriarchy of the witches world. Like she is like following that straight narrow path, and Sabrina's really challenging her to be like, why do I need to give up my name? Why? Right. So it sort of is like woven into the witch world as well, and I thought that was really smart.
It's so relatable. Besides the fact that it's about witchcraft, it's so relatable. Like all the things that Sabrina's going through, all the individuation that she's dealing with as far as her family goes. I feel like most teens are going to be able to totally see themselves in that situation and in that character to a certain extent.
Are you into spooky things? Because I will say I was a little nervous to watch the show because I didn't know how scary, and it wasn't too scary for me, which is good because I'm kind of a scaredy cat. But are you into that sort of?
I'm into it, man. I love it. Bring it on. I'm pretty hard to scare, so I'm just like, give me it. I love the feeling of being scared because it's so rare for me.
Do you ever get scared on set?
No, because it's like the demons, you see the demon chasing you and then he's at Crafty, grabbing like a banana to like hold him over until lunch. So it's just like, it really deflates all kind of like potential scariness when you just are like talking to just crazy looking goblins all day.
Are you a Halloween person?
I am a big Halloween person.
Are you going to dress up this year?
I wanted to do the Spice Girls with like a slew of the cast, but I think we're working, so I don't know if we're going to get to it. But one day, that's the dream.
I do love that there's probably going to be a couple Sabrinas out there at Halloween.
Oh my God, right?
Like
I'm already
the
seeing like sweaters and the whole thing. It's so exciting.
That's what I'm most excited to see.
Right?
I know there's going to be some young Sabrinas out there. And
yeah.
kind of re-energizing.
Yeah, right? I love it.
I also saw
a lot of weird sisters too, probably. Yes. Yeah.
Like her schoolmates, the three girls with the collar. I could see a lot of those.
Totally.
Costumes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also saw in one of the episodes that you sing.
I do. Yeah,
So,
episode 4.
Are we going to see more singing, or is that something that you
I don't know,
are really
because
into?
Roberto's really into doing musical episodes and loves that kind of stuff, and I don't know if that's going to happen on this show or not. But there are a lot of songs throughout the show, just sort of placed. It was so funny because I had pre-recorded the song and I got there on set, and in the rehearsal I just sang it. And I was and they told me, oh, you'll just lip sync along to whatever, and they were like, oh, you can actually, do you want to just do it? And I was like, yeah, I guess so. Maybe. So I did not know that I was going to be doing a live performance that day, but now I'll go in, more armed and ready if that happens again. But it was fun.
Yeah, it looked like fun, and I could totally see, like, is theater something you would ever really want to dive into and do, like, a musical?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up as a kid doing musical theater. Like, that was totally where I found all my friends growing up, especially not going to school, like, in a traditional setting. Most of my friends were musical theater friends. I did all, you name it. I was in that production at some point.
Another thing I love about Sabrina is that it is modern, like it's in today, but it's also this like retro city. So even the fashion is a little kind of kickback, and they kind of go to like, why can't pay phones and things like that. So how fun is that to play with? Is that it's not, there's no over reliance on technology in the show, which is sort of refreshing.
Honestly, it makes everything. I love it because at the same time, we're not portraying a specific era where you have the responsibility of making certain references to a certain time and culture, and it sort of just feels like it's in this little bubble, which is nice. And it's honestly, it's pretty cool not to be using technology in the show, because to a certain extent, you could be like, well, couldn't they just take a photo of it with their phone, or couldn't they just, it adds this level of convenience that you don't want the characters to have for storyline purposes, and yeah, it's really great. I love it, but I would want to see like what Sabrina's Twitter feed would be. I'm like very tempted to make Instagrams for all the characters and just have them. Yeah. Right.
Hers would just be like photos of Salem, just like a lot of cat
totally
photos.
A lot of cat
her and
cat
Harvey.
Mom. Yeah. Proud cat mom. Yeah.
You're saying this. I'm sure right now somebody's making this
on
Instagram.
It. I hope so. If someone wants to get on it, that would be amazing. As long as they share the password with me, so I can contribute.
I'm sure that Riverdale fans would want to know: will there ever be like a crossover?
So this is my hot take: is that I have no influence over this whatsoever, by the way, but Greendale and Riverdale are literally next to each other. So much stuff is happening in both towns separately. Like, they're action-packed, crazy towns. How the heck are they not gonna somehow like run into each other with their shenanigans? But honestly, both shows are so tonally different, and they both have such a style that I think for it to work, I get so riled up because I am a big Riverdale fan, and I really do hope that it happens at one point. I think one of their characters would have to come to our show, or vice versa. I don't think it could be like a big like mashup-y mergy thing, just because they're stylistically so different. But like if Archie just like gets lost on his morning jog or whatever, I mean, that would be great, right?
Car breaks down, just can't get home.
Totally into it. Sabrina can come to the rescue. I
love this.
Yeah.
I'm sure the fans of both shows would totally stand for that.
I'm into it.
I'm into it too.
Yeah.
Speaking of fans, I think we should go to the audience really quick. I know we have a couple of questions.
I have a question from your Mad Men days.
Oh.
So I remember reading coverage of events and where they would talk about Best Dressed, and they would talk about you and say, well, her dress was a little bit risque, but she did wear flats. And I thought, oh my gosh, she's 10 years old. How are you going to be that under that much scrutiny at 10? I mean, I can't imagine that for myself or my two daughters. So I wondered how you handled that.
It's interesting. I felt like I stayed very protected. I'm lucky that I had wonderful parents that were, and I'm sure you're a wonderful, wonderful mother as well, that that protected me. And to a certain extent, you can't please everyone, and you cannot make that your mission, because that's just going to drive you absolutely nuts. So for me, it was about just having enough separation from the industry and having a real childhood in a lot of ways that felt like it didn't have to do with going to events or doing anything like that. That was important for me, for my formative sort of experience and years. And then as far as fashion goes, I mean, I always felt sort of my age, and I loved to dress up, but I never was in some kind of hurry, and I'm lucky that I never felt pressured to be in any kind of hurry. So at that point, if you sort of have the mentality of, this is what I'm doing and I'm confident in it, you just sort of try to maintain that as much as you can and not let the noise get to you too much. But I'm lucky I had a really great upbringing. I had fun friends, and I just had a really nice experience with Mad Men because it filmed 10 minutes away from my house, and when I wasn't working on it, I wasn't doing other acting jobs. I was hanging out with friends and doing musical theater and playing tennis and doing taekwondo and just getting up to normal kid shenanigans, which I know is not the case for everyone who's grown up in this sort of world, but for me, it was essential.
That's so nice to hear you say. Like, it sounds like your parents really made sure you had that.
They're pretty chill.
Yeah, that sounds really nice.
Love them.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Next question.
Hi, Kiernan. I'm Sabrina.
Oh my God, I know. I see. I saw that sweater from a mile away.
I'm actually one of the first people to have it.
No way,
Yeah.
really? That's awesome. Well, it
my-
looks amazing.
I'm really excited to see your take on Sabrina because I was an original fan of the Sabrina Teenage Witch series. I was hoping to know what prepared you for the role, if you took any inspiration from like Melissa Joan Hart as Sabrina, and what can we expect from Sabrina that's like much different than what we've seen in Sabrina before?
Yeah, so it was actually really cool because I got the role in December last year, and we didn't start filming until March. So I felt, and that's like really rare to have that much time before you start filming something. Like Ross got it the day before. But I had 3 months to prepare, and they gave me the first 2 scripts to work on. So basically, I was like working with my acting coach like 3 times a week, like studying the hell out of that script, like creating her world, just trying to get really comfortable in her skin. And that was like such a gift, you know, to have that. So I really took advantage of the time I had to really hunker down and like work on her to make her feel lived in, because sometimes with those first episodes, you know, you're trying to find your footing and you're trying to find your character's voice, but I wanted to be as comfortable with her as possible so that I could go in and other people could go in watching it and feel like she was a developed person. So that was awesome. I also got to do a ton of chemistry reads with everyone else, which was pretty fun, and also a great chance to like play around with the character and stuff like that. And then as far as the 90s show, I actually never watched it. Really? And then I kind of got like too deep into this version, and I didn't want to like, you know, I was so like just like headfirst into this Sabrina, but I think over my hiatus that might have to be the first thing I watch.
Yeah,
like
do it.
I think I might.
It's more like a sitcom because I noticed this one I'm really excited about because it's more dark.
Totally. I mean, they're totally different shows as far as I can gather. But yeah, this one more leans into like the witchy sort of coven aspect. You meet like I would say there are way more witch characters in this show than mortal characters, which is cool.
I think the original comic was like a little darker, more like
the
this, you know?
2014 one.
Yeah.
It's totally in the same vibe.
I would say that, you know, I'm a big fan of both, but the Sabrina that you know and love is still there, where she cares about other people and she's constantly looking out for people around her.
Salem's there. Don't worry, guys.
But
Not going anywhere.
this is like way darker and way more fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Way more fun.
Yeah.
All right, next question.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. I just wanted to say, first of all, I was able to see the first episode at Comic-Con, and I absolutely love it.
Nice.
I cannot wait for the rest of the season.
Oh, that's so awesome.
And my question was, compared to Riverdale, you know how they have like a theme for each season? Is Sabrina gonna have that like incorporation, or is the show just gonna be an overall of just Sabrina trying to like handle her life with being immortal and not immortal?
A really cool question, and we're filming season 2 right now. And what I would say is that Riverdale might have more of like a very, very, very specific theme that they tackle, but both the first season and the second season both have like themes that are really strong and really different. Like filming the second season, it's so funny because I've been watching a lot of, like I was stuck around for the first episode and I'm like, oh my God, that was so long ago. That feels so different. You really see the characters kind of grow and change and tackle different obstacles. And I would say that like the season, the first season really kind of ramps up toward the end. Like by episode 7, you're just like, all right, let's watch 8, let's watch 9, let's watch 10. Oh my God, they're over. What? At least that's how I did it. And yeah, so I guess we don't really have like as specific of like a monster or a goblin or like something that we're sort of fighting, but both seasons are very different from one another, and I think they both have like kind of directions that they go in. Like the beginning of this season totally mirrors the end of this season. Like it's a journey, it's a ride. Yeah, thanks.
And one last question.
Hi.
Hello.
First, I wanted to say I'm really excited for this show.
Yay.
So, yeah, I've watched the trailer so many times already. And I'm
awesome.
Just like, can it come out already?
You and me both.
Yeah. So also, I was going to say, that you've done things in the horror genre before, and so I was wondering, how is Sabrina different from those other characters that you've played within the genre?
Yeah, it's interesting because a movie that I did called Black Coat's Daughter, which actually was the last time that I was here, was a big inspiration for Roberto, which I thought was so crazy. I sat down in the meeting, he was like, I loved you, and obviously my mind just kind of goes to Mad Men, and he was Black Coat's Daughter, and I was like, excuse me, what, you've seen that movie, huh? But it is cool because I feel like Roberto appreciates very classical horror movies like The Shining, Rosemary's Baby, Suspiria. We even had a whole big screening of little clips of movies that the show was sort of going to pay homage to a certain extent before we started, which was really fun. But it's fun. I mean, I feel like this is sort of, we lean into the campiness of it all while still also having it be like a drama through and through, and it's really fun to play with those extra elements because it's kind of just like we're doing the show that feels so good and fun, and then like the added element of like blood everywhere, you know? So it's just like a bonus, you know? It's an add-on, which is really fun. It makes it more entertaining, to be quite honest.
I agree. It's a beautiful show, and then you're scared, but you're also hopeful, and it's inclusive, and it's funny. It really does, like, each episode, you're like, oh, I got, like, fully entertained, which is so nice and so refreshing. So I'm
all your senses.
Yeah, everything is engaged. So I'm excited for people to see it. If you guys do want to see it, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina debuts October 26th on Netflix. Guys, give it up for Kiernan.
Woo! Thank you, everyone.